I was into like drugs and sex, you know? And then when I got clean, you know, you can't party. Not that you can't, but like I wasn't going to clubs. I was going to meetings every single night. My first 5 years clean, I lived a super disciplined life. I had 5 years clean before I even thought about it. And I had a friend of mine who was my old grand sponsor who owned a male escort agency. And I used to judge him because I'd be like, dude, how are you this spiritual guy and now you're a male escort agency owner, basically a pimp? My guy who was one of the top escorts for him hit me up and he's like, yo, I need you to sub in for me in Miami. And I was like, dude, I'm not sleeping with an old lady. And he goes, who says she's old? And he sent me a picture of her and it was like this hot black girl. And I was like, she's gonna pay me to sleep with her? And he was like, no, her sugar daddy is. I was like, oh, so he's gonna be like in on it? And she was like, no, he's gonna be in the other room. And I'm like, how much money are we talking, you know? And it was the easiest $3,000 I ever made. And I've made easy $3,000 before, you know?
Yeah.
It didn't feel unspiritual. It didn't feel wrong. It was a victimless crime, you know, like who really got hurt here, you know? I was pretty new to sex work. You know, now I could, you know, almost do anything, you know? But at the time I kind of was like nervous and young. And, and that's kind of how it started. And then, you know, I've always been like an entrepreneur and I've always been like creative and I'm obsessed with film and art. Like I love movies and books and poetry and stuff like that. And when I first started to do adult content, it was kind of like those two things collided. And what I tell people is like, you know, if you make art, that's dope. But when someone buys your art, it feels like, wow, like I'm doing something that's good enough where someone will actually pay for it, you know?